So, one of the questions that I get asked is, how does creativity play a role working with complex trauma, and how do you approach it? And I thought this is a really good question to respond to, because there is a lot of evidence now that when we are looking at working through trauma, one of the things that can really support us is a whole brain approach where all aspects of our brain and body come into play. The important thing to note, though, is that alongside that experience of complexity, which occurs in a certain length of time, comes the relationship itself. And one of the things that I've noticed is how much of doubting, criticism, and underconfidence happens in terms of what I can do and what I can't do. And in this canvas, if we are presented to with anything that has a lot of requirement of skill or ability, and some of the creative forms do require that of us, immediately these aspects of ourselves start to play up, or we get so consumed in the making itself and following the steps that we lose connection with ourselves, with our body, and like get more into our mind, because that's the way to attend to that way of responding creatively. So the way I think about the role of creativity actually is, I think about the role of spontaneity, spontaneous energy that we all have. This can be exhibited in different ways in our life. It could be the way by which, on a day we get up and there's a need to, for example, wear the color red, and, we honor that. Or on another day, we love to listen to some music, and that's another creative impulse. So, how do we bring the quality of creative impulses or spontaneity into the processes of being with art making or explorations that involve using our hands or using our body or using sounds? So I think about it from that perspective. The other thing I think about is also the duration. So, for example, just the concept of using things in short bursts rather than an extended period of time can allow us to at least explore, touch, and enter into something new, rather than it being something that is the focal point of the work that you are doing, for example, with me. So it could be that during one part of the work that we do together, you and I decide to actually use a really large sheet of paper and just move our hands in space, and then maybe we pick a crayon of a color that's really calling for us, and then we start to make some marks. And that may be enough on that day. And another day, we may actually be more interested in looking at that mark making and taking it a little bit further. And so, this way of being with a creative process, where the attention is more on how am I staying connected with what's important to me, rather than an outcome of this is where I need to reach, is something that I am learning is more in service of people that I tend to work with in that broad section of complex trauma. And this could be not applicable to you at all. And then with that, there could be a different approach that we take. But fairly, this seems to be the construct that I have found to be useful. And as the energy for making and the relaxation of the self-critical parts happen, and perhaps softening of the ways in which we hold the definition of what creative means, which is often linked to something that looks nice, is softened, and there are other ways of looking at it, then we can find that there is a range of possible creative aspects that we may be interested in looking for or looking at. I find that some clients really get interested eventually in finding their own ways. Finally, this is any creative expression is about finding your own voice and your own expression in the world, and that could be from so many different ways. So I thought I'll share this perspective, and I hope you find it useful. If you have any other questions for me, feel free to let me know. If you want to subscribe and support my work, feel free to join the channel. Thank you.